teams I'm ready to buy for the 2024 season, let's look at the ACC. These are four teams that I'm looking at who I think will overachieve their expectations, do a little better than the public thinks that they might do, maybe exceed their win total. But teams that I think are going to be a strong team and will be competitive every single Saturday, and maybe some scheduling dynamics. So let's look at the first one. Virginia Tech, number one in returning production, in Bill Connolly's returning production. So more than any team in the country, they have the most people coming back, including Kyron Drones. I think he's going to be a star. He showed great signs last year. I think he's going to be excellent. And then on the flip side, on the defensive side of the ball, we got Peebles and Dorian Strong at corner. Like, these guys could be all conference on defense. And mostly, they have a very favorable schedule in the ACC. And their out of conference is Vandy, Marshall, Old Dominion, who they have struggled with before, so you can't just write that off, and Rutgers. That's a very manageable out-of-conference schedule. And they go to Miami, and then they host Clemson. And then the rest of the games, they'll probably be favored in. So they have a very workable schedule, and this could really pay dividends for them as the season goes on, especially if we see some chaos and turmoil in the ACC. Brent Pry has done a great job, and he's looking to build for the future. So I like Virginia Tech here as a team I'm willing to buy for the season. Their over-under is 8.5. It's juiced heavy to the under, but I do think that they're going to be a team that's going to get back onto the national scene for Virginia Tech. Okay, next, let's go to Miami. Now, their win total is 9.5. They're the third favorites to win the conference behind Florida State and Clemson. Their 9.5 win total is juiced heavy to the under, and I think a lot of that is baked in of just recent history, and it's very warranted. But they have done a phenomenal job this year. Not only Mario Cristobal has done a great job in recruiting the past couple of years, but they're looking at this year as a win now year, and they're kind of ripe to do it. Like, Clemson hasn't really been there in the ACC. Florida State just lost a whole bunch of dudes, so like Miami's looking to come in, swoop in, and try to take that top title. Now, they brought in Cam Ward, who was the top quarterback in the transfer portal, and they recruited a top 10 transfer portal class. On defense, they got Tyler Barron and Simeon Barrow, two big dudes on the D line. They also brought in Damian Martinez, running back from Oregon State. And like I was saying before, their previous high school recruiting classes have been number 7 and number 4, back to back. So it's a lot of young talent, and they brought in some transfer portal guys with some experience. Like, I think when you blend those two together, it's going to make for a really good season. And again, they also have a pretty favorable schedule. Now, they open with Florida, and I mean, you cannot underestimate how massive of a game that is, both for Miami and for Florida. But that game could set the tone for the season. That could be a game where if Miami wins, they are going to just be firing on all cylinders and going to have a really great, successful season. Or they'll set back and be like, same Miami, still not winning the games that you hope them to win and get over that bump, and maybe they putter down the stretch. So that's going to be a big game. And they have Virginia Tech and Florida State at home. They go to Louisville, but they don't have Clemson. They don't have NC State. So they do have a very workable and favorable schedule for them to be competing for the ACC championship. Now, will Mario Cristobal get over these in-game foes that he has? That's another question, but I think that they have the talent in the schedule to really make waves. All right, let's move over to SMU, the newcomer to the ACC. Their win total is 7.5, juiced heavy over. So people are actually thinking that they're going to win 8 games this year. And I don't think that's crazy. I know it might sound crazy as a newcomer to the ACC. And I think that they'll be in for an awakening in terms of week over week competitiveness and what that's going to look like Saturday over Saturday compared to what a group of 5 schedule was looking like. But I do think that they have a lot of pieces, and obviously they got the program buy-in. Will they be competing for a conference championship in year 1? Maybe not. But 3 to 5 years with SMU being in the ACC, I definitely think they can. But even this year, I think they're going to be pretty solid. They bring back Preston Stone, who was excellent last year at SMU. Their schedule is front-loaded, but not terrible for them. They start off going to Nevada, and then they have a 4-game home stretch hosting BYU, TCU, and Florida State. 4 games, but those are the 3 games that are notable games. So that's a tough 4-game stretch, but they're all at home, and the Florida State game will be massive. Lots of conference implications on that game. That will be their toughest stretch of the year, and then after that, they got Stanford, Duke, Pitt, BC, Virginia, and Cal, all at the bottom of the league for in the ACC, and they will either likely be favored, assuming that they're healthy, in all of those games, no matter where they are. So I like SMU to come in and make a splash for the ACC. So I'm buying SMU this year. And then lastly, let's talk about NC State. If we get the very best of Grayson McCall, this team is going to be very dangerous. Their win total is 8.5, slightly juiced to the over. So people are thinking that they'll win maybe 9 games, slightly. So I like it. I think they're really good this year. They're really tough. They're bringing in Grayson McCall from this year. They have Kevin Concepcion back, a receiver who was outstanding last year as a freshman. Dave Doran always has a really solid defense. They're a really tough and physical team. Now, they play Tennessee and Clemson in the first 4 weeks of the season. But after that, they kind of control their own destiny. They have no Miami, no Florida State, no Virginia Tech. Like, those are the teams that are in contention and favorable to win the conference. They don't play any of them. Follow Big Body Ball on all socials: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram.